What's going on, YouTube? I am Germ here, and in this video today we're going to be talking about cases because even though I've talked about cases a little bit here on this channel, I really want to start ramping up some of my case content because for one, cases are just a really amazing investment. They're kind of like the not so secret in the investing community. You know, it's like when you first get started, so many people want to talk about the guns or the knives, or some people get involved because of stickers or whatever, but then you have cases quietly in the background that just kind of keep killing the markets over like every conceivable period of time that you can potentially look at. And I have started recently buying more and more cases. And obviously I want to talk about the stuff that I believe in the most and the stuff that I'm buying and the stuff that I'm researching and all that. You know, I went through a period of talking a lot about Paris, and we are definitely still going to talk a lot about Paris because it's a huge portion of my portfolio still. But as I continue to build up some of my case, cases, or buy up some of my case positions. I couldn't think of the word. I want to start talking more and more about that. But we also have some kind of other random news here and there to talk about just with the overall state and health of the market. So with that being said, let's get right into this. So first up, I want to check in with how cases have kind of been doing as of late. I want to look at a couple different cases, but cases have been very, very interesting because, like I said, over the past couple of years, they've absolutely killed it. And so many people in the CS investing community have made a ton of money with cases. And if we look at recently, we have the cases graph from pre-2016 that over the past month, it's down. You know, cases like 219 back here. Now it's 203. So around a 10% drop, maybe like a 9-8% drop in the last month for cases from before 2016. You can see Revolver, Shadow, Falchion. You know, here's the whole list, but it's some of the older cases. Then you kind of have the middle-aged cases from 46 down to 39, which I can't do the math, but some percentage of drop or whatever. But then some of the newer cases have actually been doing quite well recently. But obviously, when you start to zoom out, you can kind of see what's been going on with all the different cases. But so some of the newer cases have been doing well recently. A lot of the older cases are down, but still a lot of cases have been doing quite well since this release of CS2 when you start to look at some of the more interesting ones. I know I have my spreadsheet that has shown the returns of some cases for the past 2 years or whatever. And that is what's very, very interesting in these markets. Because like I said, some people want to focus on guns, knives, stickers, whatever. But when you look at the overall returns from cases, again, for the past 6 months, the best performing cases have tripled in price in the last 6 months, that being Prisma 2, Fracture, and Danger Zone. This is from August 15th, so this is 2 months ago, but just you get an idea of what cases can do in a 6-month time period. Over the past year, some of the best cases have gone up 8x for Chroma 2, 5x for the Revolver, 5x for the Prisma 2, 5x for the Danger Zone, 5x for Prisma 1. In the last 18 months, 22x for Chroma 2, 15x for Danger Zone, 10x for Prisma 1. And in the last 2 years, this has been absolutely crazy. 28.5x for Chroma 2, 17.7x for Revolver, 17x for Chroma 3. Now, again, just because we have seen these gains from cases previously doesn't mean that those types of gains are going to return or that cases will even continue to be the best performing assets in the market. But I know, Jesus made that video about the Broken Fang cases recently, and you have all these different cases where the cases that are not in the active duty drop pool, and even some of the ones that are in the active duty drop pool, are getting opened so fast that the supply is just going to keep dwindling. They're not getting dropped enough. They're getting open faster and faster. And if you do think that CS2 is going to continue to grow and thrive and flourish, or grow at some point like it hasn't really yet, then more and more cases are going to get open, and cases really have no reason to slow down or no reason to stop. Again, I don't think we're going to see cases 28x in 2 years or anything like that, but I still think cases are going to be one of the best, if not the best performing assets in the market. Now, what's interesting here is we had this guy Morocco saying, hey, CS2 lost 11% of the player base since release, which I think is very, very much to be expected. Any game, when it has a new big release, a ton of people are coming in. People who don't even play the game or like the game or whatever, they want to come to play it just to check it out. And then generally those people are going to leave. They weren't even fans of CS or anything like that in the first place. Now, is 11% a lot to lose, a little to lose? I don't know. It's been 3 weeks, a month, something like that. I don't really know. I can't really compare it to the releases of other games or anything like that. But, a lot of games have big booming releases, and then if the player base is going to grow, it's going to grow slowly over time. But the thing about CS2 is also that They put out no new content. There was no new skins, no new cases, no new operation, no new game modes, no new, maps, no new nothing. It was just an extension of the beta. Yeah, we got the huge graphic updates for a lot of people, but for so many people, they already had the CS2 beta and all that stuff. And, people like new content. People like new stuff. That's what's going to bring new people to the game and grow it over time. So I don't know. I wouldn't really be too concerned about this, but just understand that once CS2 does start bringing out new content, I do think we're going to see this turn around. I think we're going to see this start growing, and I think cases are just going to be getting opened up faster and faster and faster. And we know how much cases are a huge moneymaker for Valve. You can check, how much money Valve's made in the last year or 2 years or 5 years or whatever off cases. It's an obscene amount of money. And by owning cases, you are indirectly or maybe even directly having a piece of that economy. People love the loot boxes. People love opening up crates. People love getting those guns, call it gambling or whatever you want to call it. People love that. And by owning cases, you are able to profit off that. Again, as people open up more and more and more, that's going to decrease the supply lower, lower, lower. And that's going to be a great thing for people holding cases. And that's part of the reason why cases have done so well. People want to talk about how Pair stickers, they're nice, they're shiny, people love them, they're new and all that stuff, but, people aren't really applying them, people aren't really opening them, they're just an investor tool, blah, 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 blah. And some of that is very fair, but with cases, all the opposite is true. People love opening up cases. Casual players, more experienced players, people can't resist opening up these cases. So, that is always going to keep the supply of those going down and down and down, which is definitely a very great thing. Also, previously in my video, I had talked about how some countries, I think like the Netherlands and maybe one other country, Belgium, something like that, they weren't actually getting case drops because they were, restricted countries or it was against the law or against some kind of rules or whatever. And I said, this might be kind of a good thing for cases. If some countries can't even get case drops, it might actually, even slow down further the number of cases that are dropping. But now, I guess they have fixed it, or maybe some rules change, or they found some way around it, or whatever. It does seem like cases are dropping in all these countries. This guy said he got it in the Netherlands. Maybe he's going to be in jail now. Who knows? Two of my Belgian friends also received a case drop. So even if there were some countries that weren't getting case drops at the beginning, it does seem like my cat was about to eat my food. It does seem like some of these other countries now are getting case drops. So if there was a small bonus before, maybe it's a little bit of a negative now. I don't really think it's that big of a deal, but that's kind of where we're at for that. Some of the main cases, again, I'm just kind of going off my spreadsheet. Whatever my spreadsheet says is good are the things I'm going to be keeping my eye on. I still think some of the best cases to keep an eye on are going to be Chroma 2, Revolver, Prisma 2, Danger Zone, Prisma 1, Fracture, Horizon, Riptide, Wildfire. Some of those top ones. I have started buying some Prisma 2 and Revolvers of my own. But again, when you see these returns over the last year, it really goes toe-to-toe with any investment in the CS world, and I think anytime you look at a CS investment, you really need to compare it to cases to see if it's going to be worth your time or worth the risk of or whatever. Because if it's at least not comparable to the amount of gains that cases have been putting up over the past couple of years, then it really ultimately might not be worth it. But I did want to talk about some of the player-based stuff and some of this news that it does seem like all countries are getting this now and everything. We can take a look at a couple of these cases real quick just to see kind of how cases have been doing. Again, I bought the Revolver recently. We'll look at the Prisma 1 because I think it tracks pretty clearly with the Prisma 2. Cases are kind of the boring investment, which I think is a good thing because these shiny investments like cool guns or cool knives or Paris stickers, they can get caught up in these hype cycles where so many people are buying them. People are buying them just to sell them off at a higher price and all this stuff. But cases, you can't do anything with a case. You can't use it in game. It doesn't look cool. It's just a freaking orange box or brown box or whatever. It's really not like a sexy investment or anything like that, but they just consistently do well over time. Also, they're kind of cheaper items. A lot of these cases are like 70 cents, 80 cents, 90 cents. You have to buy a ton of them. It takes a while. You have to put them in their storage units, all this stuff. So it's a little harder to invest in a ton of that stuff as well. And I think those are all positives for cases and make them a little bit more immune. Not completely immune, but just more immune than some other stuff to getting caught up in a lot of these pump and dump and hype cycles and all this stuff. At the same time. Now, of course, like I said, if we do get new content in CS2, that could bring in a bunch of new players. They're going to be opening up cases. That could be great for cases. But also, if a new case or new content or new operation comes out, that will make cases dip to some extent and to some amount for some period of time. It probably won't be that long of a period of time, but that could be true. Now, is that a reason to not buy? No, I am still buying right now because we don't know when the new case or the new skins or the new operation or anything's going to drop. And in the 2 months, maybe more, maybe less, whatever, in whatever time period you wait until those new skins come out for prices to drop, prices might go up. And even after they drop, they might not be lower than they are today. You know, you can't predict the future. I can't predict the future. We don't know what's coming out. We don't know when it's coming out. All we can do is, do we think cases are a good investment, and do we think they're good right now? And again, for the long term, I don't really see any downside in them. So this is, you know, the Prisma. This is a revolver case over the last month. It's been doing quite well. About a month ago, it was 208. You know, now we see it at like 212 at the bottom, but 238 at the top side here. So, you know, some of these Esport Fire graphs, I don't think tell the whole story. It kind of looks like cases haven't been doing that good. But if you look at some of the top cases, you know, some of the top cases actually have been performing quite well. And with some of the cases I've bought, they actually do seem like they're all up over the last month. Here is the Prisma 1 case, another case that I like a lot. This was 78 cents a month ago. And now it's up to like $1. So what is that? That's like a 25% gain in a month, which again, you wouldn't really tell by looking at this graph. So I don't necessarily think these graphs tell the whole story or an accurate picture. But if you look at the top cases, they've been going quite crazy recently. I think they're great investments. I'm not really worried about them being overpriced. I know some people say, oh, they've gone up so much, they have to be overpriced. But again, the supplies are not increasing. The supply shortage is going to continue. People are going to keep opening them. And if you do believe that CS2 is a great game and you believe in CS for the long term, which you should if you're a CS investor, because if you don't believe in CS in the long term, you shouldn't even be investing in CS anyway. If you believe in CS in the long term, you think the game's going to continue to grow at least some rate, which means cases are going to get open more and more and more. And there really should never be a reason for case prices to crash unless Valve, you know, ups the rates that cases drop or something like that. So I don't know. I know I have been a big proponent of Paris. I still love Paris, but cases are slowly becoming my new best friend. I'm buying some cases. I think they're going to do quite well. Like I said, I think cases have probably made more people money in the CS investing community maybe than any other item class, but still, you don't hear about them as much because they're not as glamorous as some other types of investments. But yeah, keep an eye on cases, pick some of your favorites, maybe put some money in them. Who knows? I don't know, but that's what I'm doing. Pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully I catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.